Well guys, I know what you're saying out there. You're saying, Dan, in these upgrade videos, it's getting old, and I agree. So, the project that we're moving on to now is I'm going to change out a garbage disposal from top to bottom. That means I'm going to change the sink flange, everything involved in putting in a brand new garbage disposal. And I'm going to take you along with me, and we're going to go through it step by step. Let's head on over to the unit, and we'll get this project started. Well, one of the first things that people generally forget to do when changing out a garbage disposal is to remove the plug that the dishwasher line hooks to, little nipple on the side of the disposal. Now, if you don't have a dishwasher hooked to your disposal, then you want to leave that plug attached. You don't want to knock it out. If you do have a dishwasher that hooks to your disposal, you definitely want to knock out the plug in that nipple. All right, inside of this nipple is a little plug. You can see it right inside of there. That's what your dishwasher connects to, drains into the disposal, and that allows the dishwasher to drain. Now, if you don't knock that plug out, your dishwasher is not going to drain. So we're going to look at the numbers here on the side. This is number 20, and turn that, see if the garbage disposal runs. It does not. I'm going to show you the reason why we're changing this disposal out. For one, it's kind of noisy and loud, and for two, got a lot of rust built up down inside of this disposal. I'm going to try to show you that. All right, we're going to take these nuts off of this flange. That's a 3/8 inch. We'll loosen up this P-trap right here so that I can turn that out of the way. Now we'll unhook the dishwasher drain line. All right, now what we need to do is get this piece off. So just remove this little rubber gasket that's holding the nut on. All right, now we've got to take this nut off. And now we're ready to take the flange out. Now this flange should come right out. Discard that. Get rid of this gasket. And we're going to need to clean this area right here off. I'm going to go ahead and get our new flange assembly. And we're going to have to loosen these 3 screws right here, and right here. All right, once you have your plumber's putty ready to go, just run it in your hand, slowly squeeze it as it comes out, You want to make it longer and longer and thinner and thinner. If you get to that point, switch it over, roll it out, get longer and longer. It doesn't take a whole. Now you take your flange, put your plumber's putty around it. Get a good bead of plumber's putty around this. You can squish it down a little bit to make sure it doesn't fall off. Now you're ready to go ahead and insert your sink flange. Make sure everything's with you when you get down there. All right, this part can be a little bit tricky. When you got your disposal, you've got this little cardboard ring. You want to make sure that that goes against the bottom of the sink. And then you get this little flange. This little flange is going to go next. And then this flange meets up with that. And then you have to clip this little ring around that flange. Right, now we tighten up those 3 screws. That'll tighten the flange to the sink, and then we can put the disposal on and hook the plumbing and the electrical up. We're almost there. All right, that plumber's putty that oozed out around that sink flange is normal. That's what you want. That's telling you that you got good coverage all the way around the flange and that it's going to get a good seal. Just make sure you tighten it up pretty good. Squeeze it all out. Actually, you could probably just take and peel it off just like that. You'll have a little excess, but you can clean that later. All right, next step, we'll set the disposal in place. This plate's coming off, so we'll go ahead and remove that. That exposes our wires. We're going to put a connector in that so that that secures the cord to the disposal. It can't be pulled out for any reason. And we'll loosen these 2 screws up a little bit more so that we can get our cord down through there. All right, let's go ahead and get this hooked up. We'll go ahead and hook up our white wire to the brown. Secure that with a wire nut. Get a good tight fit on that. You don't want to over tighten it, but you don't want to leave it too loose either. All right, we'll go ahead and hook our black wire up to the blue. Again, you don't want to tighten these so tight that you're breaking the braided wire, but you do want to get it tight enough to where it keeps a good connection and doesn't back out. All right, we'll isolate our ground. We'll go ahead and pull this cord out. We'll tuck our connections into the bottom of the disposal. We'll get our ground wire hooked up to the ground screw. That's the ground screw we're going to connect to. Go ahead and make that connection. Tighten that screw up. Here's a mistake you might make and not think anything of it. Your screw tightens clockwise. So you want your wire to be going clockwise. That way, as you tighten it, it's pulling the wire around the screw instead of pushing it away from the screw. I just did it opposite, so corrected that. And now go ahead and screw this in. All right, now your disposal is grounded. You got your wire in here. You go ahead and pull the extra out to give you some more slack. Now what you're gonna do is go ahead and tighten these screws on the connector so that that wire can't pull out of there. That disposal is all good to go. Cover's in place, the wire is secure. And now we can go ahead and set this in place. We got our plug out, we got our wiring on, we got our cover on, the gasket's all back in place now, so we're good to go. This is going to be the most difficult step, I think, of the whole process. But be patient, we'll get through it. I'm going to line up the bottom of your disposal. It's got little keyways that match up to little keyways here. The low side goes to high. That's what locks this disposal in place. You kind of want to line your disposal up, get it ready, get the keyways pretty much in the same spot as what's on the flange. Now, go ahead and turn your little pipe around. You can adjust your disposal to where it's got to go now. Adjust your piping. Get that lined up. The gasket's got to go inside of that disposal like so. Make sure it's seated all the way around. You can get your 3/8 screws. Go ahead and set those. All right, now that you got that secure, go ahead and tighten up your lines, all your P-traps, your J-bends. Make sure everything is secure under the sink. The last thing you want to do is have a leak. All we need to do now is hook up the dishwasher line. They're clamp in place. All right, all of our plumbing is hooked up. All we got to do now is leak check. I think we got it. All right, so now all I have to do is go ahead and plug it in, turn that breaker back on, we'll make sure this bad boy works, which I'm sure it will. Here's something you might want to consider when you're putting in a flange for your garbage disposal. Some of the flanges will come with writing on them, and you want to make sure that that writing is on the top of the flange. So when you install it to your sink, you want to make sure that it's on the top edge up here. A lot of them will have them written here and written here. It's going to look kind of weird if you have it turned off to the side, or, you know, at the 10 o'clock position or the 2 o'clock position. So make sure that you set this in the right spot when you set this flange in place. When you're taking the old flange out, depending on what material is used, I have had to cut some of those off, break them. You know, you put a screwdriver in there and pry them to where they'll break and snap them. It could be a little bit of a challenge, but keep at it. Don't give up. You got this. Well, there you go. Disposal is installed. Everything's tight, sealed, no water leaks, electricity's done, got it all done the way it's supposed to be. So don't forget, if you're going to do the job, do it right. Make sure to use that connector on the bottom of your disposal if you're replacing it. If there's one on your old one that you can use, do that. Don't forget to put that on there. That's a good feature to have. The old disposal that I took out, whenever it was installed, nobody used the ground wire. Make sure you use your ground wire. That's important. You don't want to be electrocuted when you're cooking dinner. All right, so I hope this is helpful. I do appreciate you coming by and checking me out. Look for more videos coming in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And if you want to, subscribe to this channel. That way you can see upcoming videos that are coming and you won't miss out. Guys, I do thank you a lot. Until next time, take care.